Just tell me one thing, Burke. You're going out there to destroy them, right? Not to study, not to bring back, but to wipe them out.
That's the plan.
Now, even though I reviewed this in 2021, it's the 1980s and I had to put this back on my list. Celebrating probably the greatest action horror movie in history, James Cameron's Aliens. 57 years has elapsed. Everything Ripley had is gone. Her daughter is gone. Her ordeal is rejected at the inquest. And her job, her livelihood is gone. And she's placed on psychiatric probation. She's informed that the planetoid at the center of this has been colonized. Totally alone, vulnerable, and suffering night terrors, she grudgingly accepts an invitation to travel back with a team of Marines and some heavy firepower when the colony comm system goes down. What happened next became a major talking point amongst fans, scholars, and critics. This is one of those rare moments where a studio saw the potential in the initial pages James Cameron had written and saw fit to wait until he was ready. If his first film, The Terminator, was a success, they would give him the director's duties. And then history was made. Science fiction was being taken seriously again. Ellen Ripley, one of cinema's classic characters. Strong, intelligent, grounded, resourceful. Alongside her, a group of wary Marines. Not one of them is a background character. They all have a part and a place. As this is a movie led by a woman, she's not the only strong woman here. You have Dietrich the medic, Farrow the pilot, and Vasquez, a beloved kick-ass character whose story has joined the expanded universe. She has a sister who appeared in the original Colonial Marine story. I could talk more about the cast, how they interact with each other before they leave the Sulaco, to after they escape the hive. But I will be here all day. I do at this time want to pay my respects to those who have passed. Trevor Steadman, Tip Tipping, and Bill Paxton. Usually sequels lack the charm, the edge, or indeed the creative that made the original so good. This is one of the best examples that a sequel can rival, or for some people, surpass.
Are you suggesting that someone's trying to make a real-life sequel?
Stab 2? Who'd want to do that? Sequels suck.
No, wow. Come on, man.
Oh, please. By definition alone, they're inferior films.
It's bullshit generalization. Many sequels have surpassed their original.
Oh, yeah?
Name one.
Yeah.
Aliens. Far better than the first.
Yeah, well, there's no accounting for taste.
That is one interpretation, but here's mine. If you're comparing two action movies, I would agree. Alien is the haunted house in space movie. Aliens is the roller coaster ride. And as was said in the recent Aliens Expanded documentary, Alien is atmosphere, Aliens is action. And more than that, it's a war movie. For me, the question of superiority is irrelevant. They are equal and can be enjoyed as standalone pieces. For Cameron, pushing the envelope had become a trait. With the exception of True Lies, every movie, he pushed the technology, the visuals, the makeup, etc. The Terminator, making something low budget look polished. It looks like it jumped right out of a comic book. The Abyss, making CGI center stage and expanding it through to Terminator 2, Titanic, and Avatar. With Aliens, functionality, the freedom he got to create, the power loader, the blowtorch, the special weapons, and tracking. These are items 150 years into the future, and yet very plausible creations in the early 21st century. Even though they don't exist now, you can see them being used in the not so distant future. Aliens is an action movie that speaks to so many people from so many walks of life. There isn't one thing in this that's iconic, because there are so many things. The characters, the costumes, the guns, the motion tracker, the power loader, the sets, the Queen and her brood, the fucking music. I'm geeking out. I have so much I want to say. Speaking of music, the main theme. Now listen to this. Whether it was James Horner's intention to pay homage to Katatourian, if I got that right, I know not. I didn't hear him speak of it before he passed. He was someone who reused snippets, pieces, bars from his own works in other movies. The fact remained that his composition of this piece fits so eloquently within Aliens. And while a couple of tracks of Jerry Goldsmith's score was used here, an outtake from Horner's score was used here. And it fades into a piece that was used in Aliens.
Mr. McClane, now that it's all over after this incredible ordeal, what are your feelings?
Not bad for a human.
What happened next is controversial. Ignoring the Dark Horse storyline to continue the story was the wrong direction. Instead of making something to please the audience, Fox executives set out to make a release date. This before one frame was shot. I want to weigh in on the subject of Canon. There are a couple of things that came up moving forward that in some way can disqualify Ridley Scott's prequels. What that lady executive said at Ripley's inquiry.
And found something never recorded once in over 300 surveyed worlds.
We can put that down as being a classified file. They know, but they're not going to tell us. Plus, with the information that was part of the continuing story, we find out there is a home planet. The life cycle for me feels like an established part that goes back centuries. rather than a few years between the prequels and the original. That is one of the biggest pet peeves I have. And then there's the skull of the Xeno in Predator 2. The canonical sequel, Aliens Colonial Marines. I watched a movie presentation that was heavily modded last year, and I am more disappointed than ever before. I watched many pundits talk about it, from Jim Sterling to Angry Joe. I saw an ill-conceived story. Listen to what Bishop had to say about how powerful the explosion was going to be.
With a blast radius of 30 kilometers, equal to about 40 megatons.
In 19 minutes, this area is going to be a cloud of vapor the size of Nebraska.
And here we have a devastated Hadley's Hope that still has power in certain areas. Inconceivable. Randy Pitchford has for years been defending this and making an absolute fool of himself. You are and have never been a victim. Just who the fuck was this for? There is no rhyme or reason to stand by this. This was going to damage the already brittle reputation with the fans. Prometheus was made by people who already understood what had come before, but it's not to be taken as canon, because it would have cancelled out so much of what had been published since 1988. The Neil Blomkamp project had the potential to be something really special. Ripley's last hurrah. But Scott wanted his sequel, and we were denied. Corporate over fandom. I've yet to see the new movie, but I understand it's made at least $350 million worldwide, which is fantastic, and I've heard some great things. I believed before this release that there hadn't been an Aliens movie made with the fans in mind since 1986. Whatever your feelings regarding Alien 3, it's the closest we'll get to a decent goodbye to a beloved character. But let's get back to the good. There have been many TV and physical media documentaries over the years. This year, we had Aliens Expanded, a retrospective by Creator VC that turns over more than every rock with information and stories from the cast, the crew, fans, scholars, more than ever before. It is the perfect love letter to this movie, and I don't think there's going to be another documentary that's going to come close in 2024. I am so proud to have my name in the credits. In this Halloween series, I've been looking at many IMDb reviews. This is such a beloved movie. But what about those who didn't like it? Many have complained about the different tone, the characters, the evolution of the Xeno. There are many rambles. Did some of these people set themselves up to be disappointed? Or were they watching something similar, since this franchise has its many mimics? Well, here is a favorite.
What is the big deal? Okay, explosions, machine guns, people trapped in a spaceship and an alien on their pursuit. Seems to me like one of those Friday the 13th movies. What? What am I missing?
Everything. What sets this higher in a time where there are many Action Man movies is that Sigourney Weaver had more heart and more guts in this one movie than all those movies in the entire decade. Yes, there are plenty of muscle movies out there, but it took this one movie where the star is female to show them how it's done. All hail the Queen.